In this lesson, we're going to discuss rational indices. First of all, let's have a look at what a rational number is. A rational number is a number written as a fraction. So, for example, 1/2. That's a rational number. 3/4. 5/1. These are all fractions, also known as rational numbers. So when we are talking about a rational index, it means that the index is going to be a fraction. Let's consider this expression. Root of 4 times root of 4. So the square root of 4 times the square root of 4, we know that the square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 makes it equal to 4. I'm going to write this expression in a different way. 4 to the power of half times 4 to the power of half. Let's see if we end up with the same answer. So according to the first index law, when we have the same base, which is in this case is 4, we add the powers, and half plus half is 1. So 4 to the power of 1, and 4 to the power of 1 is 4. So we can say that the square root of 4 and 4 to the power of half is in fact the same thing. Therefore, we can conclude that the square root of 4 can be written as 4 to the power of half. The reason why it's half is because this is the square root over here. We've got that too, but we do not write it when it is a square root. Similarly, if we have the cube root of 27, so when I'm asking what the cube root of 27 is, that's 3, right? Because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. But how else can I write the cube root of 3 as a rational index? I can write 27 to the power of 1/3. See how? Now the fraction is 1/3 and not 1/2 because it is the cube root. What if we have the fourth root of 16? The fourth root of 16 can be written as 16 to the power of 1/4. And both mean that's 3 because that's the cube root of 27, and this is 2 because that's the fourth root of 16, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So the point I want to make here is that in general, if we have a to the power of 1/n, then it means it's the nth root of a. Also, if I've got a to the power of m/n, this n is your root and the m is your power. So we say that it is the nth root of a to the power of m. It can also be written as the nth root of a with the power of m on the outside. Similar to this example, have a look here. 27 to the power of 2/3. What does that mean? So that means that it is the cube root of 27 to the power of 2. So the cube root of 27 is 3. And then I need to put the power of 2 there. So 3 squared would be 9. Let's have a look at some examples now. It is important that we read the title so we know what we need to and how we need to present the answer. So write in index form. So at the moment we've got the root showing there, and we've got the cube root of 8x to the power of 4. The cube root of 8, we can work it out. We know it is 2. And x to the power of 4 root of is going to be presented as x to the power of 4/3. Question B. 6 and root of a to the power of 3b to the power of 5. The 6 is not affected by the root, so we just put it down. a cubed rooted. So is a to the power of 3 over 2, and so b is going to be to the power of 5 over 2. So the 3 is coming from the power and the 2 is coming from the root. 5 root 5. So there's a times between the 5 and the root 5. So that means that it is 5 times 5 to the power of half. Now this has a power of 1 there. And so if we add the powers, 1 plus half would be 3 over 2. So the answer is 5 to the power of 3 over 2. Now, for examples D and E, we need to write these in third form. What does it mean in third form? So at this stage, all I want you to know is that a number in third form is when it is written in a root form, okay? In root form, which can't be simplified. What do I mean by that? 4 to the power of 1/3, I'm going to write it as the cube root of 4. That is in third form. 6 to the power of 2/5, that means that it is the 5th root of 6 squared. Now if we can work out obviously 6 squared, that is 36. So the 5th root of 36. Next set of examples, F, G, H. We need to evaluate these expressions without using a calculator. What does 81 to the power of half mean? It means the square root of 81, which is 9. Notice that the power in this question is negative. Let's remember from the negative index laws. What does that mean? That means that now we have 1 over 16 to the power of 1/4. And then by applying this rational index rule, we have 1 over the 4th root of 16. And if that can be worked out, the 4th root of 16 is 2. Since 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. Question H, 81 to the power of 3/4. That means that we have the 4th root of 81, everything to the power of 3. It is easier in this case to work out the root before the power. So the 4th root of 81 is 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. And then 3 to the power of 3 is back to being 27. Last 3 questions. We have to simplify m to the power of 4 9ths to the power of 3 8ths. So with the index law power to a power, it tells us that we need to multiply the powers. And so what we have here is m. On the side, we can work out 4 9ths times 3 8ths. So if we cross that out, we're dividing top and bottom by 3, and then we divide top and bottom by 4, we end up with 1/6. That means that the power now is 1/6. And m to the power of 1/6 means the 6th root of m. A to the power of 2/3 b to the power of 3/4 times a to the power of 1/3 b to the power of 3/4. What do we have there? Let's have a look at the powers of a. When we are multiplying, we need to add the powers. And we've got 2/3, we can work it out on the side, 2/3 plus 1/3, that makes it to 3 over 3, which is equal to 1 whole. So the power of a is 1, in fact, here. B. We need to work out 3/4 plus 3/4. And 3/4 plus 3/4 is 6/4, which is simplified to 3 over 2. Always simplify the index when it is a fraction as much as possible. So b is to the power of 3 over 2. Let's have a look at the last example. we've got 4x to the power of 7 over 2y to the power of 3/4, everything to the power of half. So let's expand the brackets. Let's get rid of the brackets first. So we've got 4 to the power of half, x to the power of 7 over 2y, because I'm multiplying the 7 by half. And so 7 over 1 times 1 over 2 is equal to 7 over 2. Over 2 to the power of half, and then y is to the power of 3/4 times a half. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8, is 3/8. So because we've got these numbers 4 to the power of half and 2 to the power of half, let's simplify those two, but the rest stays the same. So we've got x to the power of 7 over 2 over y to the power of 3/8. However, 4 to the power of half, doesn't that mean that it is the square root of 4, which is 2, and 2 is to the power of 1. If I divide 2 to the power of 1 by 2 to the power of half, which I'm taking from here, we need to subtract the powers. Yeah, and so 2 to the power of 1 minus half ends up being 2 to the power of half. And so the answer will be 2 to the power of half x to the power of 7 over 2 over y to the power of 3/8.